Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Pink Turns Purple. This is a telesummit in support of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Yes, we are doing something different, unlike anything that I think you've heard before. And I haven't heard it spoken this way before. I want to introduce you to today's thriver, and that is Danyette Smith. Say hi, Danyette.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
So before we get into it, let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. Let me let you know what's going on in case you're like, wait, what happened? Where did I end up? And tell you what this is all about. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we are all survivors and what now called thrivers of domestic violence. And I really wanted to bring together a group of survivors who have really done the self-work, who have healed, who are walking in their purpose, their calling, and they are better because of all that they have gone through, all that they have lived through. They have learned their life lesson. Because if you don't learn the lesson, you are doomed to repeat the course over and over again. So I'm not just talking about domestic violence. That's a life lesson. Go on and take that one down and save it away from you. But so what we are all doing is we are really just sharing our story and having an honest conversation about how to go from here to there, which is what we all hopefully want to be. So before we get started, let me share with you a little bit about who Danyette is. So Danyette Smith is a game changer. She is a survivor of domestic violence and knows the effects it can have on kids and families firsthand. From having a gun placed to her head and told she would be killed if she left, having 2 plates in her eyes currently to hold her cornea in place from being hit, or the effects it had on her children, she has experienced it firsthand. Danyette is the founder of Silent No More, Inc., a CASA court-appointed special advocate for child advocates with the Marion County Juvenile System Family Support Liaison for grades K through 12 at a charter school that covers the whole state of Indiana. And she is a strong believer in God, with him inside of her, his light as an active leader in her church. She has an associate degree in business management, as well as her bachelor's of science in human services with a concentration in child and family welfare. A contributing author of the book, When a Woman's Fed Up, we already know how that goes, using her voice as a game changer. In addition, she is a 2016 Domestic Violence Advocacy Award winner. Through her program, she was able to She was able to reach out to 500 teens in 2017, with that number already looking to double for 2018. Her passion is to save our kids and help them live the life a teen should be able to live, with no worries or concerns about teen dating abuse and or domestic violence. So, Danyette, let's jump right into it. Okay, so we got to give them a little bit of the story, because you know they want to know. Like, you got what in your eye? Like, what had happened was. So share with us a little bit of your story.
Yes, definitely. So I met a gentleman in 2004 who is currently my child's father now, but I met him in 2004. And for the first 2 years, everything was blessed, everything was going great. After those 2 years, I ended up becoming pregnant with his child, and as soon as I had that baby, things changed quick. The first blow to the eye, which was in reference to the plates that you were speaking of, that first blow knocked me to the ground. And most people, when I talk about my story, I can talk about it with a smile, because that is part of that healing. There is no pain when I speak about it. So I do want to throw that out there too, because I know some people are like, she's smiling. How is she smiling? Well, that's part of that process. But I went through it for 10 years. So first it was the hit to the eye. When I got hit in the eye, I ran to the back of the house. I just couldn't believe it. I was in shock. Like, did he really just hit me? I am the only girl of two brothers who are older, so I never told them anything. My oldest daughter, who is 16 now, she was 4 at the time. So by her being at a younger age, I wasn't as worried about her seeing it, besides always having sunglasses on. So I always kept sunglasses on. From there, after I had my surgery, because I did have surgery, I told my family that when I did get in a car accident when I was pregnant. I told my family that it was from the car accident. My family came, they supported me through the surgery just because they thought it was from the car accident, not knowing it was from the blow to the face. After I had my surgery, I got hit in that same eye 3 times after that, the exact same eye. Didn't understand it, and that's when it got to a point where, okay, you're not about to keep hitting me in the eye. So I stayed away as far as his reach. So I didn't continue to get hit in that eye. From there, it went to verbal abuse. And then after that, that's when the guns came into play. So in 2012 is when the first gun came into play. He put it to my head and said if I leave, he would kill me. And then he also put it to his head. So at that time, I know I'm like, okay, he's crazy. If he's saying he'll kill himself, he don't care who he would kill. Then it went to me being chased with a shotgun out the window down. And you guys are probably, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, born and raised. So there's a street. He chased me from one street, I would have to say at least 5 miles to another. And that's when I got on the phone and called my best friend. And she picked me up. Now, mind you, this shotgun is out the window. My car didn't go into park. Well, it didn't stop, shall I say. When I threw it into park and hopped in her car, he chased me and her with that shotgun out the window for some time. She lost him. I went back. That's the cycle of going back. I left him more times than I have fingers, but I also went back just because I didn't know what that cycle was. I didn't know what domestic violence was. The last straw was February 6th of 2014, and that's when he came to my job and said he was going to kill me, popped the trunk, came in, and that's when did I say 2016? February 6th of 2014, and that's when I knew that I had it all. In the process of that, I had already taken sitting in my room because I was doing it online, reading through what abuse was, is when I was reading over domestic violence, and the only thing that was missing from that domestic violence chapter was me and my children's name. And it wasn't just me, it was also the effects that it had on my children. So that is when I knew that I had to get out of it. That is when I knew that a bail went off. Now, I stayed for 2 years after that, but that's when I started digging to see what domestic violence was. How can I self-help and apply what I'm learning for this degree to myself? So I got away. I got a restraining order. And then I'll go into how we are today later, I guess. But
Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
You are frozen up on me. Okay, there you go.
There you go. We lost each other for half a second, but we're back.
Yes, I was going to say, you froze up on me.
Well, first of all, we just grateful you here, because clearly,
thank you.
There's a chance that you wasn't gonna be here if you know, crazy folks would have had their way. So we got to be grateful for that first and foremost. I think that the biggest thing that we have to talk about when we say moving from that place of, you know, being a victim, not really, you know, it's chaotic, it's crazy when you're a victim, right? So what for you, when you first got out of it, when you Okay.
Took my glasses.
Okay. So we just grateful that you're here, because clearly crazy people was trying to take you out. So we're gonna get that right there where that is. But when you first got the restraining order, you got out of the situation, you got the kids, now you got the family probably asking you 50 million and 10 questions. Why you didn't tell us? Why you go back? What's going on? Where were you emotionally during that time?
Well, you know what? Because I had, now let me tell you, back in 2009 was when I first came open with my family about it. So then is when, now I have a family of all sisters, so when, or all women, shall I say. So when I had a lunch with my cousin, and she's like, the spirit is telling me, you know, something's going on and you need to, and then I wasn't in church. So I'm like, girl, that spirit is blinding you. I'm gonna need you to take your spirit somewhere else. And she's like, no. So eventually she broke me down. I opened up. That was a Friday. Sunday, we had a family meeting. Monday, they were moving me completely out of the house. So I went to school, which I was in college. I went to school. I left my car there. My best friend brought me back to my house. And my family, because he had left, my family moved everything out. We were done in less than an hour. Put everything in storage, and I moved back with my family. Well, because I did that, and I moved with my mom, when I got my apartment, I moved him right in. So by me going back to him, by the time I was done in February of 2014, my family was like, you know, I don't want to hear about it. You can't ask me for anything. Don't do anything. You know, there was nothing. So it was more so of, yeah, okay, she'll be back with him. That was at the point of where my family was. When I left for the final time, when I got the restraining order, that's when my mother knew, because me and my mother are best friends, that's when she knew I was serious. Because I would never call the police. I would never tell his name. I would never do anything to jeopardize that, because I was still in love at that time. But that final straw was when I was like, I was already emotionally detached at that last time. And most women, we emotionally detach before we physically remove ourselves. So by me taking in all of the training and all of my information with schooling, I applied it to myself. So in February, when I left and got the restraining order, I was emotionally in a lonely place, only because I didn't have anybody that believed me that I would stay gone. But however, that's when I really connected with God and went on a 40-day fast and just said, forget everybody that's around me. Literally, I said, forget everybody. And I blocked everybody out just because I didn't need the negativity. When I got the restraining order, though, I did hook up with a police advocate, a victim's advocate. So they gave me a new telephone. They had a new number. So I didn't have to receive the text messages, and I didn't have to still communicate or see anything. I put that restraining order on my kids, so I didn't have to worry about the phone call saying I want to see my child. I didn't have to worry about that at the time, just because it was a protection order for all of us. So for those months, I just was able to really have a clear head, and I just had to keep myself busy to not think about going backwards.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump ahead, and then we're gonna come back a little bit. Where are you now, especially considering that your child's father? Even if you never talk to him again, you still see him every day because you see your kid. So, you know, where are you now?
Well, let me tell you, God is good. We are where we are as a parenting are 100% fine. He can sit next to me and we can laugh about jokes. That's how powerful forgiveness is on my end. When I opened up Silent No More, I went and told him that I was opening up Silent No More because it is something that's going to be spoken about him, even if I never use his name. So he knows everything that's going on in reference to me out here, giving the word, giving my testimony and what I went through. Like, all of that is great. We're great. He can call me and ask to speak to his daughter, which he don't have to now because she has her own phone. But that's kind of where we are now as far as co-parenting. We have no problems. I'm not hurt. When I see him, I see him. I don't see what I went through.
Woo!
So that's important as well. Yes.
That right there. And that's really what this whole Telesummit is about. It is what she just said. When I see him, I see him. I don't see what I went through. Mm-hmm. And it's time to just unpack this thing real quick and let's just deal with it. That's what, when we become survivors of domestic violence, when we see our abuser, when we see the place that we lived in with our abuser, when we see the places we used to go, the things that remind us, because, you know, we humans. So it's a song that's going to remind you, the place that's going to remind you. We don't remember, we don't see them. We see what we went through. Mm-hmm. We see that emotional pain. We see that blow to our head. We're back feeling it all over again, like it's happening right now. And that's when you're in survival mode. Yes, you are living, you're not in the relationship anymore, you are moving forward with your life, you know, maybe you got a new job, a new place to live, whatever is moving forward for you, but you emotionally are still stuck right there in that place of what they did to you. And they have all the power. Yep. I don't care if they apologize. I don't care if they go get counseling and change their whole life around. They have all the power and they are still abusing us on so many levels because we are stuck right there. So how did you get out of that stuck? Because I know you know what I'm talking about because, you know, we've had a little conversation. So how did you get out of that stuck?
So I got out of that stuff again by fasting. You know, a lot of people, because this will be worldwide, and a lot of people may not do the fasting or they might not have a religion. So I try to make sure that I do it both ways. But the main thing that I did myself personally was I went on a 40-day, 40-night fast. I didn't eat any meat, and I got in the gym. By me getting in the gym, I was able to plug my ears with gospel music and to really rebuild myself as a woman, because I can admit I was totally broke down. I had been in a relationship all my life as far as an adulthood, so I had never been able to be the woman or for myself as a woman, as who I was supposed to be. I was molded by the men that I was with. So I had to separate myself and know who Danyette was and get to know who Danyette was. So that was reading inspirational music and then going to the gym.
Right. So I want people to hear what you said, because a lot of times we will hear that you said you went on a fast and you was in the gym. And we'll think, okay, let me just go on this fast and let's go to the gym. That's not what she said. She said she had to get in touch with Danyette. Who is this woman? And she had to build that woman up to a place of defining herself and molding herself, because her whole identity had been molded and transformed by everybody who had been in her life, from her abuse.
Including that broken little girl, because I was still living that broken little girl from childhood. So not only did I have to tap into who Danyette was, I also had to confront that little girl and let her know that, look, I'm in charge. So you go ahead and get on somewhere. I got this.
Right. Right. And I need us to hear that, because so many times what we see, and I'm just gonna, let's just be honest. Let me just look at myself for a second. Mm-hmm. I used to think, these women are so stupid. Like, how do you end up in these situations? Ain't no man ever gonna hit me. Like, I'm not that woman. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, this is what we really think, and this is what we tell ourselves, and what we fail to deal with is that broken little girl. And that broken little girl becomes a broken woman. And that is what puts us in the situation that will allow someone to abuse us.
Yeah.
And this is not me blaming anyone. Like, I'm not victim blaming, because we like to throw that word around a lot. What I'm talking about is that self-accountability, and that self-preservation, that self-love, that self-worth, that self-work. That's what we're talking about right now. For her, it meant going on a fast, because if you know what a fast is really for, it's not about not eating the food or not eating the meat. It is about denying yourself something, so that every single time you have a craving, an inkling, a want, a desire for whatever you're denying yourself of, you immediately go to a place of, why am I doing this? And you get refocused back on whatever's going on. So if you're doing it to reconnect with yourself, that becomes a moment. You think in your head, all right, where am I broken? What do I need to fix? What do I need to learn? What do I need to change? What do I need to do? It just becomes a self-reflection moment. And think about it, right? Like I always fast from sweets because I love a cupcake. I'm just going to keep it real. So literally, if I fast from cupcakes, and I'm not even exaggerating, that means at least 10 times in a day, I'm going to be thinking about something. Ooh, because I know I had a thought about a cupcake, but I'm fasting. Why am I fasting? Oh, because of That's 10 times a day that I have refocused my energy into healing, into working on myself. You can change your life.
And another thing I noticed, that when I was in my domestic violence situation, all of my friends were being abused. All of my friends were in some type of abusive situation, whether it be financial over there, or maybe it just be a verbal abuse, that when we got on the phone, we had something in common that we could talk about. And it kept us it was comfort. So we were comfortable talking about it, getting off the phone, and dealing with it still. But then once I got out of the situation, I knew I needed to disconnect myself from those people. And I'm not saying we fell out, but I knew I had to disconnect myself from those people, just because I am not who I was when I was with that individual. I'm not her. And in order for me to change, I had to change my surroundings. I had to change who I was dealing with.
You don't even know how many words you spoke right there, because every day I say to women, we go, oh, I got my friends. I don't need a therapist. I don't need a life coach. I don't need some help. I got my girls. I got my friends. Mm-hmm. Boo, 95% of the time, y'all are all going through the same stuff. And y'all just making each other feel better going through this stuff. Because if we weren't all going through it, we couldn't connect. Yep. Even with this telesummit, literally all of the people that you are going to hear, we connect because we are all in the same space in our life. We're not in survivor mode anymore. We're not bashing him. We not even focused on, he is the least of my worries in life. Mm-hmm. Whatever, if he gets help, if he don't get help, if he, anything happens with him, that I don't care, because I'm focused on me. And all of us are truly in a space where we are focused on us. How do I grow? How do I become the better person? How do I get to the next level? How do I heal? And look at what happens when we heal. We start moving like Silent No More. We make an impact. She said last year she made an impact in over 500 teens' life. Yes. Her story, what she went through, impacted 500 teenagers. Not grown folks, not women who've been through it, but teenagers, hopefully deterring them from ever having to walk that walk. Yep. That's the purpose right there.
And I think one of the things is, whether you're in survivor or thriver mode, just make sure that if you have children, to turn back around it. Because even though you got out of it, they're still in it. So until you go back and address it with your children and make sure that they're out of it, they could still be stuck there from everything they've witnessed, everything that they've went through, all the withdrawals that maybe you had, or the isolations that you had in your room because you thought that they wouldn't see you crying, or because you thought they didn't hear you crying. Make sure you go back, because that's what I had to do. That's why I started talking to the teens, because of the impact that it, like my daughter, I went to the school and special education, the bedwetting, the low self-esteem, like everything that domestic violence impacts on a child, my child went through it. And here I am thinking that maybe, you know, she's a special ed or something like that, when it was just the trauma from the domestic violence. Right. It's crazy. It's crazy.
We think that we're protected. They don't see it. Like, I'm in the room, but they still feel
that energy.
That energy.
Yeah.
They have been abused and victimized just like we have, in a different manner. And like she said, you got to go back and you got to talk to your babies.
At their level.
Help. If, you know, get a therapist for them. You can't fix it because you're going through it too. Like, we need other people to help us, to feed us, to teach us, because clearly we didn't know it beforehand, or we wouldn't have been there. Like, clearly we need to learn something. And so, I mean, I'm just so grateful. You know, I wasn't even like, you know, I don't have to give any of the speakers, okay, make sure you say this, because when you are truly living this thing out, there's a constant thing that we all gonna say. And there's you know, we're gonna all say it differently. We all gonna drop a different gem, but there's a constant thing, and it is you.
Yeah.
It's all about you.
Yeah.
You make the decision. You make the change. You decide you're not going to be stuck no more. You decide when you're going to heal. You decide when a woman's fed up.
When she's fed up.
She makes a decision and she do some things differently.
Yep.
We don't have to it doesn't have to take us shotguns to get fed up.
It doesn't.
We can get fed up a whole lot quicker.
If we understand, we will get fed up quicker. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful that, you know, you had this opportunity to share your story and for us to have this conversation. Before we get off of here, I just want to give you another opportunity. If there's anything you want to say, any tip, anything that you want to say to somebody who's watching this right now, this is your moment.
Yes. I would say just to make sure that you love yourself first as a woman. If you are experiencing domestic violence, and if you don't want to talk to anybody, or if you're afraid to talk to anybody, Google what domestic violence is. Google what the cycles of domestic violence is, and learn those 3 cycles, because when you're in it, you'll know what position you are on that wheel. And then from there, you'll be able to know what the next thing is coming. And then eventually you'll be able to remove yourself out. But contact any of us, any of these ladies that are on this platform, contact one of us. We are more than willing to give you an ear, give you some insight, or even some direction, and where you need to move forward first. But once you get out of it, make sure that you turn around and put your hand out there for somebody else.
Yes, I love it. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up this session of Pink Turns Purple. It was an amazing session. I want to remind everybody that every Monday and Wednesday for the whole month of October, we will be dropping these in your emails. So make sure you pay attention. Make sure you tell a friend to subscribe so they can get them too. It is completely free. So get the information, get the knowledge, get the wisdom, get everything that we're giving you right now. And of course, if you would like to sow a seed into 2 organizations that are doing amazing work in regards to domestic violence, especially in the African American community. They are both on the path of building domestic violence apartment homes because don't nobody want to be in no shelter. That's just
Amen. Shelters here are full to capacity.
They full here in Georgia too. And, you know, we just got to do something different. And it takes more than just the shelter. It takes complete wraparound services. And both of these organizations are providing that. And with the purchase of a T-shirt or a T-shirt book combo, we can make a difference. You get to rock a cute tee, and you get to make a difference. So please, please, please support us in that movement. You can click the links below in your email and purchase, or you can go back to the bit.ly, pink turns purple, and purchase there. But thank you again for watching, and we will come back to you later with another amazing Thrive Her. So until next time, we want to say bye-bye.